In this lecture, we are going to look at different model evaluation tools. For the AIGP exam, you need to know what a model card is, as well as a system card. You need to know what a benchmark is. It's unlikely that you need to know what a datasheet for a dataset is, but I'm going to show that to you anyway because I think it's an important tool as an AI governance professional that you need to be aware of. At the end of the lecture, before the review, we're going to go to a couple different websites and I'm going to show you what these look like in the real world. And I will also include links in the curriculum as well so that you can poke around on your own. Let's start with model cards. What is a model card? Well, first, it's a transparency document that's been inspired by food nutrition labels and also by data sheets. A data sheet, as we'll see, is a summary of the data, including data provenance or data lineage. Where did the data come from? How has it been processed, etc. But I'm getting ahead of myself. A model card helps to provide information about an AI model, the model's training, and the data the model was trained and tested and validated on. Model cards help to bridge the gap between developers and users, and they provide guidance on the model's functionality, its inputs, outputs, and range of applications. Model cards can also help us to reveal potential biases, errors, and model limitations, and it helps to improve model utility and credibility as well. One tool that you need to know about for the AIGP exam is the Model Card Regulatory Check, which is produced by the OECD. I've provided a screenshot here, and I will also put a link in the curriculum as well. You also need to know what benchmarks are. Benchmarks are tests that help to evaluate a model's performance, and two examples that I'm sharing with you here. I don't think you're likely to see these on the exam, but again, as a governance professional, it's important you know examples of benchmarks, and so here you go. Two popular benchmarks that you're going to see industry-leading models tested on are the Massive Multitask Language Understanding Benchmark, or MMLU, and the Massive Multidiscipline Multimodal Understanding, or MMMU. The MMLU is a 16,000 multiple choice question exam that covers 57, that's right, 57 academic subjects across STEM, the humanities, and the social sciences. And we're going to look at an example of how the Gemini and GPT models have fared on the MMLU. The MMMU consists of 11,500 multimodal questions. Remember that multimodal is text, video, image, sound. So foundation models or any model that's being tested on MMMU is able to process not only text and choose the correct answer, but it's also being tested using charts, diagrams, maps, tables, music sheets, chemical structures, etc. And for the MMMU, of the 11,500 questions, it covers 30 subjects and 183 subfields. So, I mean, these are crazy exams. I haven't actually looked at one of these, but I imagine that most human beings are going to have difficulty with these. They seem pretty comprehensive. What you're looking at here, I took from Google Gemini's website. And what Google is doing is they're comparing the performance of either Gemini Ultra or Gemini against some of its leading competitors. We see Gemini Ultra paired against GPT-4. We see Gemini in the multimodal benchmark tested against GPT-4V. And in the bottom right-hand corner, I don't recall what Gemini is being compared against here. Maybe it's GPT or some other model, but anyway. Those are video and audio specific benchmarks. Starting with the text benchmarks on the left-hand side here, you see that the column furthest to the left is the capability. So we have general, reasoning, math, and coding. We then have the name of the benchmark. This is going to be a list of useful resources, again, in case you are being asked to suggest different benchmarks. There's a description of those benchmarks, and then we have Gemini Ultra's performance, followed by GPT-4. And, again, of course, this is on Google's website, so they're going to show us the most flattering data to try and sell its Gemini Ultra model. But you can see the percentage here. This is the percentage of questions tested correctly. So on the general MMLU, Gemini Ultra got 90% correct, whereas GPT-4 got 86.4% correct. And I'm not going to read through the whole list here. I just want to make sure if you're interested in pausing the video here and looking through this, that you're able to interpret it. And you can take that explanation and you can apply it to the multimodal one in the middle here and video and audio in the bottom right-hand corner. The final tool that I want to take a look at before looking at some examples on different websites is Datasheets for datasets. A datasheet documents the base data piles, motivation, composition, collection process, and recommended uses, just to name a few. Again, if you're interested in learning about a dataset's data provenance or data lineage, where did the data come from, how is it composed, how has it been cleaned, etc., then a datasheet is really important. And even if you are purchasing a model from a vendor, okay, you're not doing any of the training, any of the testing, and any of the validating, you're not working with any of the original base pile data, it's still really important to know what that model was trained on, all right? This is part of doing your due diligence. So if a vendor has a data sheet available, you should definitely ask for it if it's not provided with the technical documentation in the early stages of the procurement process. Data sheets help to improve communication between the data creator and data consumer. And I'll throw into here, right, the AI governance professional as well. If you're using a model or you have a foundation model and you're fine-tuning it, you need to consider the liability of that model spilling any of the sensitive data that it was trained on, all right? That is a potential liability that you need to consider. Data sheets also help to facilitate transparency and accountability. With the last few minutes of the lecture here, I just want to highlight a few of the resources that are available as part of the curriculum, and then I'm going to provide links for. The first one here is a system card, and we're going to look at 3 different examples of system cards. This one that you see in front of you is for GPT-4. And so again, this is OpenAI, March 23rd, 2023 is when this was published. We have an abstract, and I'm just going to scroll through this quickly to give you an idea of the different sections, what you can expect to see here. And if you have some time, I absolutely recommend that you read through this. I know it says that it's 60 pages up here, but about half of that is reference matter. So you're only looking at somewhere around 30 pages of actual text to read through. So introduction, overview of findings and mitigations, observed safety challenges. This is an important part of a model card. Evaluation approach, qualitative evaluation, quantitative evaluation, hallucination, harmful content, representation, allocation, and quality of service. It's running through some examples there for you. Disinformation and influence operations, that's been in the news recently. Proliferation of conventional and unconventional weapons, all right? Didn't know that that was going to be in here. Privacy, if you're a privacy or cybersecurity person, these are going to be important subsections for you. Potential for risky emergent behaviors, and so forth and so on. I'm not going to scroll through the full 30 pages here. I think just, the first dozen plus or so give you some idea of what to expect with this document. Another genre of model card you see here. This is from Google's MediaPipe Face Mesh. This is we can see here, a lightweight model to predict 3D facial surface geometry from monocular video captured by a front-facing camera on a smartphone in real time. So we've got, again, the summary there, model specification. We've got intended uses, limitations as we see. That's something we've seen in both of the model cards so far. Factors and subgroups. This is important. It's telling you where it's received the training data from as far as geographic region, ensuring that we have diversity in the data set, metrics, and so forth and so on. The final model card that we're going to look at is from Llama 3. We see that this is on GitHub. Again, we have our model details, training data, intended uses, hardware and software, training data, and we have benchmarks. We know what the MMLU is now, so we're familiar with that lingo. Instruction tuned models here, responsibility and safety, Llama 3 instruct, responsible release, cybersecurity, child safety, ethical considerations and limitations, etc., etc. And so those are 3 examples of model cards. And again, links will be in the curriculum for you. In addition to model cards, you should also know what a system card is. And this link is from Meta's website. So what is a system card? Well, a system card tells us how a number of different AI models work together. So a model card is for one model. If multiple models are working together, that is an AI system. And there will be a system card that explains how a group of ML models and other AI and non-AI technologies work together in an AI system to accomplish a specific task. You might see system card on the exam. So it's important that you're able to differentiate between a model card and a system card. The last tool that I want to share with you is the Data Nutrition Project. What the Data Nutrition Project provides are data labels. And a data label is similar to a data sheet. Let's look at some examples. So the dataset nutrition label looks a little like this. So this is just a standard image on the data nutrition website. This is looking at the dataset studies of human cognition with neural language models. Let's scroll down here. We can click on another one. How about, I'm going to click on, this one's familiar, right? The Lion 5B dataset. Again, we see that this is a draft. We have a description over here. Lion 5B is a large-scale dataset for research purposes consisting of 5.85 billion clip-filtered image text pairs. 2.3 billion contain English language, yada, yada, yada. Wow, 100 other languages. That's massive. Inference risks. So we have, this is about humans, their upstream sources. There's been a technical review, an ethical review. How often is this data set updated? Unsure. Data values, feature selection, representation. Let's see, it's got 2 risks here around subpopulation information and collection representation. Let's click on that. Let's see, representation. It is unclear which communities are represented as that data is not categorized. However, it is likely that many communities, especially those with easy web access since 2008, are represented. Okay, great. And again, I'm not going to read through all of this. I am going to provide the links so that you can poke around at your leisure. Again, these are tools that are important for you to know as an AI governance professional. I don't think you're going to see data sheets or data nutrition labels on the exam, but again, you should know about it as an AI governance professional. In this lecture, we looked at different model evaluation tools. These include model cards, which provide guidance on a model's functionality, its inputs, outputs, and a range of applications. We also looked at benchmarks. These are tests that help to evaluate model performance. 2 examples that we looked at are the MMLU and MMMU. We then looked at data sheets for datasets. These are documents for the model's base data pile, and they help to improve communication between data creator, data consumer, and AI governance professional.